Welcome to the Real Life Weight Loss Podcast, where we cut through the confusion and get down to the truth about what really works for real people when it comes to losing weight, having incredible health, and a body that you love. We believe that losing weight is really about gaining life, doing things you never thought you could, having renewed confidence, and enjoying your body more than ever. I'm your host, Corey Little. Now let's get to it. Hello and welcome back. This is episode number 305, number 305, and today is all about a big dose of weight loss motivation. And specifically, I want to give you a really important first step to help you get started losing weight. So whether you've tried and failed in the past, or you're just like, man, I've got to do something about this, I've got to address this, help me get started. What should my first step be? I want to help you with that, okay? Today is actually another installment of what I've been calling episodes I don't want you to miss. It's actually a replay of one of my most popular episodes of all time. It came out about 2 years ago. So even if you're a longtime listener to this podcast, you might have heard it before, but it's been a little while. So I encourage you to stick around. Plus, if you're anything like me, when you listen to podcasts or other teachings, it can just be really helpful to hear it more than once. You'll pick up on things that you might have missed the first time around, or maybe you're just in a different place in life and it just hits you a little differently. So I encourage you to stick around for it. Again, it was honestly, I think one of my most popular episodes of all time. But ironically, it was originally published, like I said, a couple years ago in 2022, and I had just taken the entire month of July off from podcasting. What? Corey, no podcast episodes at all? Yeah, exactly. I kind of announced it towards the end of June. I was like, guys, I'm taking the summer off. My wife is a teacher. She's out of school, and I just want to spend time with her and relax and all that good stuff. And I still like to do that in the summer, but I don't like taking that much time off the podcast. So my point is back in 2022, this episode was released at almost the exact same time, at the very end of July, at the beginning of August. And I had just gotten back from a vacation, I think, which ironically, I was on vacation last week. So the timing of this is, I didn't really plan it this way, but it's just kind of ironic and it kind of is fitting. So here's the thing. If you need some weight loss motivation, if you're just wondering, like I said earlier, how to get started losing weight or how to get started again, then this episode is for you. It doesn't matter if you're doing keto or you're trying Weight Watchers or Whole30, or if you're thinking about starting Noom, or if you're thinking about joining my program, whatever. We all need some motivation to get things going, right? Well, I've got you covered with that, with a big dose of weight loss motivation and positive energy. There's a lot of passion and just me getting fired up in this episode. But that's not all, because you guys know I'm not all about just like the short-term motivation and all that stuff, right? I also explain the essential first step that's needed for weight loss success, but honestly, it's the essential first step that's needed to overcome obstacles and achieve any sort of positive change in our life. In this episode, we'll cover limiting beliefs, how the weight loss industry can just totally screw you up, the problem with what you've maybe always tried in the past and maybe you keep going back to time and time again. We'll talk about how being too busy can hold you back, definitely in weight loss, but also in just a lot of areas of your life. And then I'll wrap it up and give you some very specific next steps, some questions that will help you identify some of your faulty patterns and move forward in a positive direction. So listen, pay attention, maybe take some notes, and then send this episode to a friend, okay? Now, we're about to run that episode, but first, be sure to check out the free stuff that I offer to help all of you amazing guys and gals. Just scroll down to the show notes. You can pause this episode, go down there right now. You'll find 2 free lessons from my Live Life Lose Fat program. It's a program I use inside my Inner Circle coaching group. So there's a link for you to get 2 free lessons from that program. I also have a free menopause download for all of you incredible ladies who are in that sometimes challenging phase of life. So there's a free download for that. And then also if you'd like to, have a chance to watch my anti-diet class where I kind of walk through my overall philosophy about weight loss and my approach to weight loss. And so you can check that out and register for a time to watch that down there also. So that's all in the show notes. Go check that out. Without further ado, let's roll this passionate weight loss motivation episode now. I'm back. I'm back. I hope you missed me a little bit. I definitely missed you guys. I missed doing the podcast, but it was definitely time to take a little break, to take a little breather and just kind of relax and unplug a bit. I hope that all of you had the same opportunity this summer to kind of unplug and take some time for yourself and your family and to just kind of refresh a little bit. And actually, that's kind of what this episode will be about today. It's interesting, anytime I create an episode, or at least sometimes I create an episode, it may start one way and I may have a certain idea of like, okay, this is what I want to discuss today. This is what I want to, lay out step by step. And then sometimes it just kind of goes off the rails, but maybe kind of goes off the rails in a good direction. And that's exactly what happened with today's episode. So my plan was to share with you 3 things that I kind of realized while I was gone, 3 things that I think would be really helpful for you. And honestly, the first thing, I just started kind of making notes and gathering my thoughts, and it just grew and grew and grew. And I was like, this is it. This is the entire episode. And so that's what we're doing. It's just one thing. And this one thing might be classified as weight loss motivation, but it's the essential first step in being successful, not just with weight loss, but the essential first step to being successful with any sort of change in your life. Okay, so that's what I'm going to reveal in today's episode, the essential first step that you need to make any successful change. And it all starts with basically what I realized while I was taking a break from the podcast, and that is we all need a break. That's not the essential first step, but that's what led to this realization. Guys, we all need a break. It allows us to rest and recover. Yes, sure, but maybe more importantly than that, it allows us to kind of step outside of ourselves, out of our current situation, and to see things more clearly. Possibly even see things that we couldn't see before. Maybe to see problems in a different way, to see our mistakes that we might have been missing in the past, and maybe to see some solutions that we couldn't see in the past. And taking a break and resting and recovering, it opens us up to new ideas and new ways of thinking and new ways of doing things. When we're smothered in the day-to-day busyness of life, isn't that what it feels like? Think about it. When life is busy and crazy and hectic, it's like we're kind of smothered. And when that's happening, it's hard to pause and to just breathe, refresh, and see things clearly. And we don't even realize it in the moment. We have a hard time catching the fact that, wait a minute, I'm not seeing things clearly. We're just kind of stuck in what we do, how we do it, and what we get from it. And we often don't have the time or energy to stop for a moment, clear our head, and ask why. And it doesn't happen instantly. It takes a minute for our brain and nervous system to go, hold on, this is different. We're not constantly rushed and frantic. I can calm down a few notches. We can breathe. Okay, I'm rested. Now I have space to think and dream and explore and find creative solutions. We all, I don't care who you are, we all know that incredible feeling because we were all young once. And when we're young, we've not yet taken on too much in life. We're not yet burdened with all of the responsibilities and other stuff that life throws at us. And when we're young, we're told by a teacher or by our parents or our grandparents, we're told that we can be anything we want to be, right? I guarantee you've heard that. I know I heard that. But then we grow up, and somehow, gradually, over time, we accept this idea of what we are or who we are and how life is, and that's just how it's going to be, and that's how it has to be. And we no longer believe that we can change. We no longer believe that we can really be what we truly want to be. It's sneaky and it slips in on us, but it happens. We start to think that we just are who we are and our body is how it is and life just is what it is. And whether we realize it or not, we just kind of accept our fate. And before we know it, we feel powerless and stuck. And so we just put our head down and grind through day-to-day life with this quiet desperation, as Henry David Thoreau calls it, a quiet desperation, grinding through our day-to-day life. This resignation, this giving up on our hopes and dreams, that is the quiet desperation. So here's the thing, guys. Some of you may be going, man, what happened to Corey while he was gone? And then some of you may be vibing and connecting with me, but please understand, if you hear nothing else, turn the volume up right now. Please hear this. This is not how it has to be. This is not the life you have to live. This is not the body you're destined to have. You can transform your body and you can change your life. And sometimes it just takes a chance to rest and step outside of ourselves to see that. When it comes to your body, you can still be anything you want to be, just like when you were a kid and people told you that. I'm here telling you as an adult, you are not doomed to constantly forever be 20 pounds overweight or 50 pounds overweight or to always be the chubby guy or to always be the thick girl, whatever. I'm also here telling you that even if you are any of those things, you're beautiful and freaking amazing just like you are. But I don't want you to fall into this quiet desperation, this resignation of your hopes and your dreams. I want you to hear it and understand it and believe it and embrace it, that when it comes to your body, you can still do whatever you want to do and be anything that you want to be. It's just as true now as it was when you were a kid. You can lose weight and have incredible health and feel fantastic, but you must be willing to open your eyes to the success that you can have. On this podcast, I share numerous stories of all kinds of people just like you, who have lost weight, kept it off, and totally changed their life. There are some of those stories coming up in future weeks. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, you're crazy. Be sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss them. And just like all of these people, they've been successful. They've changed their life. You can do this too. You just need to unlearn a lot of the crap that you've been told and seen and heard and read about losing weight for most of your life. And to do that, there is an essential first step. Grab your pen, grab your pad, open up the notes section of your phone. Here we go. The essential first step is that you need to be willing to stand on a desk. Woo! Corey's lost his mind. Look, I talk about this some in my Catalyst audio program, but I want to dig into it a little bit here today because it's so relevant. You may be thinking, what in the world is this dude talking about? And I know, like, stand on a desk sounds crazy, but let me explain, and you'll understand how this is the essential first step. There's a really, really good chance that you see the world and your body and your abilities and your chances of success or likelihood of failure in a certain predetermined way. The first crucial step is a willingness to intentionally see things in a different way, from a different angle, to begin to see your body, your ability, and your body's ability to change, and your power and capabilities, to begin to see all of those things in a totally different way. You must be willing to step outside of what you're convinced is true about you and your body. Whew, hold on. Let me repeat that. Please don't miss it. You must be willing to step outside of what you believe is true about your body and how weight loss is supposed to be, and actually see things in a different way, from a different perspective. The biggest obstacle between you and success, between you and what you want, my friend, the biggest obstacle is you. More specifically, it's your current set of beliefs. It's the way your brain has been trained to work and think. And then we bury that lack of belief deep underneath the busyness of day-to-day life, like I mentioned earlier. And it's no wonder we feel that unsettling, quiet desperation. We're not happy with ourselves or our body, but we've convinced ourselves we're powerless to do anything about it. And it's because you see things a certain way, and that way doesn't work. So, here's all I'm asking, is that you give yourself a chance. That's all. You don't have to make a massive jump. Just crack the door open to believing. If you're courageous enough to do this, to challenge yourself and challenge what you've convinced yourself of about yourself, here's what can happen. If you start to believe new things, you'll start to think different things. You'll start to have different thoughts, maybe even have a slightly different little voice in your head. And if you think differently, then you'll begin to make different decisions. And as you make different decisions, you'll begin to act differently. You'll begin to literally take different actions. And if you consistently take different actions, you can and will change your body. You can become a new person. You can be free from all the things that held you back and held you hostage in that constant state of dissatisfaction. You can be free from those things that held you back in the past. You can be free from all the stuff that for so long has been keeping you from achieving results, from getting the body and the health that you wanted. You will finally realize that you absolutely freaking can do it. But it all starts, the essential first step, it all starts with standing on a desk. Now, let me explain. One of my favorite movies is Dead Poet Society. If you've never seen it, just plan to watch it soon, okay? It's kind of bittersweet. It's the movie itself is bittersweet, and then it's also really bittersweet because Robin Williams is in it, and as you know, we lost him not too terribly long ago. The movie's fantastic. It's amazing. Robin Williams plays a very passionate but unconventional literature professor at an all-male college prep school. The school is called Welton Academy. And Williams' character is named Keating. And Keating encourages his students to strive to find their own voice, their own perspective, and their life's passion, to explore and discover, to think, to learn to think for themselves. And then early in the film, a fellow professor challenges Keating, challenges Robin Williams' character. The professor calls him out. He calls his teaching style misguided, and it tells him he should not encourage the young men to be free thinkers. Now, the sentiment of this professor is really the way of the school. Welton Academy had one goal: to be a factory that pumps out prim and proper college-ready students. I'm starting to think, I do think, the weight loss industry is similar to Welton Academy, except their one goal is money. As long as you're confused, guessing, and reaching for the next best thing that promises to fix you so you don't have to fix you, well, then you're also falling victim to all of their snazzy marketing and hype, and ultimately you're filling up their pockets. Well, consider me, if you will, if I may have the honor, consider me your Professor Keating. I'm not nearly as charismatic as Robin Williams, but I would love to be considered your Professor Keating. So, see, here's the thing. He was a part of Welton Academy, and yes, I'm a part of the weight loss industry technically, sure. But we both, me and Professor Keating, we both want something more for our clients, for our students. We want our students to break free and find true success. And he proposes it in the exact same way that I do. Keating refused to teach according to Welton's guidelines, just like I refuse to be a part of the typical weight loss bullcrap. He passionately encouraged the young men to find their own perspectives rather than simply accepting what they see and hear and trying to fit the mold. And I'm encouraging you to change your perspective rather than simply accepting what you think is true about yourself. Don't just live your life to fit the mold of who you think you are and then who you think you'll always be. No! You can break free. You don't have to be like you've always been. In a very famous scene, Professor Keating hops on top of the desk. Here's the whole get on top of the desk part, right? So he hops on top of his desk in the front of the classroom, and he says, "Why do I stand here? To feel taller than you? I stand on my desk to remind myself that we must constantly force ourselves to look at things differently. The world looks differently from up here. If you don't believe it, stand up here and try it. All of you, take turns." And all of the students begin to think, wait a minute, is this guy serious? And the one student gets on top of their desk, and then all the other students start to get on top of their desk. And he continues, he says, "Try never to think about anything the same way twice. If you're sure about something, force yourself to think about it another way, even if you know it's wrong or silly. When you read, don't consider only what the author thinks, but take time to consider what you think. You must strive to find your own voice, and the longer you wait to begin, the less likely you are to find it at all." Thoreau said, "Most men lead lives of quiet desperation. I ask, why be resigned to that? Risk walking new ground. Now! A flame in your hearts could change the world, lads. Nurture it." Woo! Oh, man. That always gets me fired up. So here's the thing. I'm asking you, why be resigned to that? Why be resigned to a body you don't like? Why be resigned to not getting results, to not having plenty of energy and confidence to live life to the fullest, to live the life you truly want to live? Why be resigned to that? If you feel sure about something related to your body or health, force yourself to think about it another way, even if it seems weird or silly. You must strive to build the life and body that you truly want, and the longer you wait to begin, the tougher it's going to be, the less likely you are to create it at all. Refuse to be resigned to a life of quiet desperation. Instead, risk doing things differently and seeing yourself and your potential and your power differently. A flame, just a tiny spark of belief, my friends. It could change your entire world. So nurture it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the essential first step for changing your body, for changing anything you want in life, that you're willing to stand on a desk, to turn off your preconceived beliefs and take a different perspective and maybe start to believe in yourself just a little spark of belief. Look, I promise it can be an incredibly rewarding experience and set you up for weight loss success like nothing you've done before. But there will be challenges. You must be willing to open your mind and be brutally honest with yourself. But doing this is not always easy. Like I said, it's full of challenges. It takes courage, it takes effort, and it takes a willingness to move. You can't just stand where you are and tilt your head to try to see something from a different angle. You've got to be like Professor Keating and standing on rather than sitting at his desk. You've got to move your mind. You've got to change your position. And to change your position, you must question where you are right now. That's a biggie. So I'll repeat it for you. To genuinely see things from different perspectives, it is necessary to question what you've always thought, what you've always tried, and where you are mentally right now. You must question where you are right now. You must question things with a fresh sense of wonder and curiosity and possibility, because it is impossible to truly see anything from a different viewpoint unless you question where you are now. By exploring and questioning, you will gain better understanding about what's been holding you back, what's been causing you to struggle, and you'll also begin to learn how you can finally overcome it. You will be able to shed new light on old problems and, most importantly, figure out what limiting beliefs are bouncing around in your head and hardwired into your brain. This is the crap that's keeping you from winning. It's keeping you from losing weight. It's keeping you from changing your body. So, my question for you, are you willing to move? Will you open your mind to new ideas and new perspectives? Can you be courageous enough to question what you've always believed? Are you willing to face the truth, even when it's tough, and even when it contradicts what you think is right and what you've always believed? If so, then you'll gradually start getting to know the person that has kept you from being successful, the one and only person capable of causing you to fail, and the one and only person that is capable of causing you to succeed. You'll finally start getting to know yourself. Maybe it's time for you to become better acquainted with you and your beliefs and your patterns. So right now, I'm going to give you a few simple questions to help you get this process started. Hopefully this entire episode has already made you think of things in your life and your recurring thoughts and your patterns and your past failed attempts and just beliefs that you have about yourself and your abilities. Hopefully all that's already going on. But I want to give you a few specific questions. You ready? Here we go. Number one, who am I? I mean, what is my identity? Like, how do I see myself? Do I like it? Do I like the way I see myself? Do I like this identity? And if not, what would I like to change about it? Don't be vague, my friends. Be specific. Be very specific. And don't be super mean to yourself, but also don't be super nice. List the great qualities, and then list the stuff that's maybe not as flattering. List the stuff that's right below the surface. Who am I? What's my identity? Do I like it? And if not, what would I like to change about it? That's number one. Number two, what have I convinced myself about myself? What have I repeatedly told myself, maybe just mentally in your head, about my body or my abilities? Is this stuff helpful? Could it be different? Could it be different if I were just willing to try different things? Question number three, if I'm really honest, if I get really raw and brutally honest with myself, do I always have the same patterns when it comes to losing weight or just my overall weight loss attempts in general? Do I always kind of do the same thing? Is there a similar pattern from time to time? Do I keep doing the same thing over and over? Do I keep trying the same stuff over and over and expecting a different result? Do I just keep trying harder without trying smarter? That's question 3. Next up, question 4. What is the number one thing holding me back? And this is not something outside of you. This is not where you say, oh, my family's not supportive. Oh, it's too expensive to join a gym. No. None of that. This is not something outside of you. What is the number one thing holding you back? What is the number one thing about you that's holding you back? What is the number one thing that I can begin to question and see differently? That's the question you need to ask yourself. What's the number one thing that I can begin to question about myself and begin to see differently? What are 2 or 3 things that if they changed about me, what are 2 or 3 things about me that if they changed would propel me toward the body and life that I really want? How can I begin to question those things and see them from a different perspective? So that's, I said I'm going to give you a few simple questions to help you get started. They're probably not simple, and it was technically 4 questions, but a lot more than 4. Hopefully some of them really stuck out to you and some of them were helpful, and hopefully you wrote them down. I hope that all of this has been motivational, sure, but you guys know what I think about short-term motivation. More than that, more than the motivational aspect, I hope it's been helpful. And even more than that, I hope you'll use it. I hope you'll actually take action and really answer some of the questions I just outlined. And I hope you'll do one other thing. May I make a special request? I hope you'll send this episode to someone that you know who might need to hear it or would just really find it helpful. Just like you, I listen to podcasts. And if you're anything like me, probably, 75% of the episodes I listen to, they make me think of someone very specific. So I'll just immediately click the share button and then shoot it to them via text message. I would love for you to do that with this episode, or if you had a huge bingo, aha light bulb moment, then post it on social media and tag me. That would be incredible. I always love seeing that. I love to jump in and say hello and give you a little comment or maybe even reshare it. So thank you for your time. I'm back. I hope you missed me a little bit because I certainly miss you guys. And until next time, please remember, never forget that there is so much more to you than a number. So maybe we should stop stepping on the scales every day and letting them dominate our headspace and dictate our mood for the entire day. No, that's not the path to success. Stop it. Stop getting on the scales all the time. And then also, we need to remember that losing weight is fantastic. It's amazing, and I love helping people do it. But losing weight is really about gaining life and living the life you always wanted to live. And the essential first step to that, my friends, is standing on a desk. The essential first step is beginning to take a different perspective, not just about the world or food or exercise, but beginning to take a different perspective on yourself, on what you're doing, on your capabilities and your beliefs, and the incredible power that you have in you. You are able. You can do it. I believe in you 100%. And here's the thing. You know this if you listen to the podcast. Even if you don't believe in yourself, that's fine. You keep listening. I'll keep working on you. You can borrow my belief. Until next time, my friends, take care. God bless. Bye-bye.